What am I most looking forward to this coming opening weekend? It's hard to put my finger on exactly one thing. For me personally, it's all that off-season work coming together. You know, you dream of opening weekend all year long. We've been predator trapping, we've been doing native plantings, getting the maimais ready, and then come opening morning, it all comes to fruition. That's when you can reap the reward. For us, opening morning's very much a social affair. We usually try to blood one newbie hunter, introduce them to the sport, so that's pretty cool. In my younger years, opening weekend and even duck hunting in general was very much a numbers game, whereas now I'd rather have a self-imposed limit of 10 to 12 birds. That means you can really focus on that, really remember every bird, try to harvest them as clean as possible, and then really utilize that meat. So, you know, the cooling, the dog work, it's just so satisfying, and that's for me is the fun of waterfowling. What am I packing for lunch in the maimai? Well, it's pretty hard to go past the good old bacon egg pie and bacon buddies. But of course, if you've watched the show in previous years, you've seen we've developed a duck pie recipe that's, it's so good. So I'll definitely be whipping up a duck pie or two. And of course, I'll be washing that all down with a good cup of coffee or tea in the Stanley thermos. So yeah, the food and the social side is a massive part of it. How do I stay sharp during the day? Obviously, it's really important given you're handling a firearm all day long. Can be a little challenging, but I try to get a good night's sleep, although you're up early a lot of the time. And then during the day, just trying to drink plenty of fluids, staying hydrated, and of course leaving any alcohol until after the guns are locked safely away at the end of the day. What are my top safety rules for the maimai? Firstly, often getting to your maimai or your blind involves travelling over water, boating. If you're in deep water, make sure everyone's wearing a life jacket. And if you're wading and the water's getting deep, make sure you've got a wading belt on. And then in the maimai, probably the biggest one is just really being aware and accountable for your shotgun. You know, its state of readiness. If it's loaded, it's got to be pointing in the safe direction. If someone's out retrieving birds or shifting decoys, make sure you take that round out of the chamber. When you're shooting at birds, you need to be aware of your firing zone. What could be beyond those trees? Could there be walkers or other people or other hunters? Just being really aware of that and really being accountable for yourself and all your mates to ensure everyone gets home safely. And I've already mentioned it, but leave the alcohol until after the guns are locked safely away. What are my top tips for beginners? Probably the main one is being prepared, you know, checking your decoy rigging, checking your waders aren't leaking or whatever you're using, and then making sure your shotgun has been serviced, you know, it's cleaned, the operating parts are oiled just to ensure it's going to cycle on the day and avoid any semi-auto rage. And a big one is, you know, getting along to the likes of the hunting and fishing pre-season claybird shoots, just to ensure you're on target and are really going to harvest those birds as clean as possible. And the main one is just have fun, you know, don't get caught up on the number of birds or how many Joe Bloggs are shooting down the road. The less birds you shoot, the more satisfying every one of those birds is going to be. And probably the last one I'd say is, you know, there's a chance you'll run into non-hunters out on opening morning, so just be respectful of them. You know, if you haven't grown up with duck hunting or been exposed to it, it can be quite a confronting sport. So just explain to them what you're doing, be nice, and you know, don't lose sight of the fact of what we're out here doing on opening morning. We're harvesting fresh, lean, wild game meat. We want to ensure it carries on for many more years so our kids get to enjoy these fantastic opening mornings we do. So yeah, just be respectful of anyone you run into and have a heap of fun. Cheers guys.